You're listening to Saturday Morning Media. And now, back to our show. Attraction Checklist is made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons. Patrons get to hear these shows up to a week in advance before they're released, and they get special downloads of just the recorded attraction audio for each episode. Consider becoming a patron today over at patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media. And thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Paul, and my favorite Disney attraction is the Haunted Mansion. You're listening to Attraction Checklist.
My name is Grandpa Choco, and I invite you to join me on my quest to learn about and experience every Disney park attraction I possibly can. This is Attraction Checklist. Welcome to Attraction Checklist. This episode, by request, we head back to EPCOT in Walt Disney World to ride the Land Pavilion's signature attraction, Living with the Land. As of this recording, this attraction does have a sponsor, as it is presented by Chiquita. The guide map describes this attraction in the following manner. Sail through the greenhouses of the land to see 9-pound lemons and more. Seriously, that's how this attraction is described in the guide map. The thrill level describes the attraction as being a slow ride. Now, before we go check out those 9-pound lemons, here are 5 fast facts about Living with the Land. 1. Living with the Land is an EPCOT opening day attraction, having opened with the park on October 2nd, 1982. When the attraction opened, it was called Listen to the Land, but the name was changed in 1993. 2. There are 35 animatronics in this attraction, including monkeys, buffalo, goats, a dog, and a rooster, to name a few. Perhaps to drive home the thought of living with the natural environment, there are no human audio animatronics anywhere in the attraction. 3. The audio animatronics seen during the American Prairie sequence of the ride were actually built before EPCOT even opened. They were originally meant to be part of a Magic Kingdom attraction called the Western River Expedition, but that ride was scrapped in favor of building Pirates of the Caribbean instead. 4. As you pass by the farmhouse, you'll see the number 82 painted on the mailbox. This is a small tribute to the year EPCOT opened, 1982. And 5. When the attraction originally opened, each boat was captained by a cast member who took you on the tour. The cast members were later replaced by a pre-recorded narration. Also, the attraction used to feature the classic song Listen to the Land by Bob Moline. Though the song is no longer featured on the ride, an instrumental version of the song plays in the Land Pavilion several times a day. And now, let's ride Living with the Land. Joining me today is John B. DeHaas, and after the ride, we'll discuss our thoughts on this classic attraction. This is a binaural recording, so if you have headphones, put them on now, as we are about to ride Living with the Land at Walt Disney World's EPCOT.
Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy Living with the Land. Por su seguridad, permanezca sentado con sus manos y brazos, pies y piernas dentro del barco y cuida a los pequeñitos. A manera de recordatorio, no tomar foto con flash y luz de video antes de llegar al hilandero. Welcome to a voyage of discovery and awareness of the richness and the diversity, the often surprising nature of living with the land. Our journey begins as dramatic and sudden changes are sweeping over the land. The approaching storm may seem violent and destructive to us, but to nature, it's a new beginning in the cycle of life. Surface of the land, roots trap water from the flowing mud, extracting precious nutrients and minerals. These elements, when combined with sunlight, create the diverse living systems of our planet. One of those living systems is the rainforest, home to the most amazing concentration of life on our planet. These dense and beautiful forests cover only a tiny portion of the Earth's surface, but they contain more than half of its plant and animal species. Rainforests are also extremely rich and productive living systems, providing us with oxygen, food, medicines, and other elements essential to our lives. In the desert, nature has created a very different, but no less beautiful living system. And while this arid landscape may seem lifeless, it is very much alive. The plants and animals that have learned to survive in these harsh conditions make use of what little water they can find and avoid the scorching rays of the relentless sun. The American Prairie once appeared as desolate as the desert, but over time, rainwater and nutrients gradually penetrated the hard surface of this land. Even the hooves of the mighty buffalo helped create the rich soil that would one day become home to the American farm. Of all the forces at work on the land, humans have had one of the most profound effects. The need to produce food for a growing world led to the enormous use and sometimes overuse of the land. In our search for more efficient ways to grow food, we often fail to realize the impact of our methods. Today, we're learning to live with the land, discovering better ways to grow food that will assure both human and environmental well-being.
Here at EPCOT, we're learning to reduce the need for pesticides by using natural predators like ladybugs and wasps to control pests. In Japan, we're learning that by adding composted leaves and other plant material to our soil, we can reduce the need for fertilizers. In farmlands across America, we're learning that by plowing under vegetation containing natural fertilizers, we can enrich the soil without the use of chemicals. In Saudi Arabia and Mexico, we're learning to produce food on desert seacoasts by developing and planting crops that thrive on saltwater.
How will we meet tomorrow's growing needs for food production, yet still respect the needs of the land? Some of the answers are being discovered just ahead. To help us maintain these carefully controlled ecosystems, and for your safety, please remain seated in your boat at all times. Welcome to our living laboratories, where scientists from EPCOT and the U.S. Department of Agriculture are exploring innovative ways to produce bountiful harvests now and into the future. The tropics are home to the greatest diversity of plants on the planet. Many of these, like papaya, bananas, cacao, coffee, and rice, are well known around the world. These are just a few of the edible plants that have been an important source of nutrition for people living in the tropics. Many are rich in vitamins and minerals, while others are well adapted to growing in less than ideal conditions. Some, like the water lily, thrive in wet, swampy areas and waterways. All parts of this plant, even the flower petals, are edible. The starchy root of the plant has long been used to make flour for baking. One day, many of these lesser-known tropical plants may be as important as the bananas growing on both sides of the boat. More than 28 million tons of bananas are eaten annually, making it the most popular fruit in the world. When we mention farming, you probably don't think of fish. But fish farming, or aquaculture, accounts for nearly half of all the seafood consumed globally. Tilapia, bass, and catfish, like the ones you see here, are 3 of the more popular crops raised by fish farmers. The sustainable system we're using here recycles the water in the tanks. As a result, we're able to save millions of gallons each year. Our small fish farm produces nearly 5,000 pounds of fish each year to serve in restaurants around Walt Disney World. Innovations like this one can play an important role in our efforts to produce bountiful harvests and still protect natural resources. While there are more than 50,000 edible plant species in the world, most of us are only familiar with the handful that make up our everyday diet. The common grains growing here, wheat, maize, sorghum, and millet, plus rice, account for nearly 2/3 of our global food consumption. Learning how to increase yields of these staples is an important goal of research around the world. These plants are definitely on their way up. Innovative growing techniques like these increase yields while more efficiently using resources like water, fertilizer, and pesticides. Another innovation at work here is our integrated pest management program. By populating our greenhouses with beneficial insects that prey on harmful pests like aphids and flies, we are significantly reducing our reliance on conventional pesticides. We're growing these crops using our nutrient film system. This technique precisely controls and recycles water and nutrients. With it, we can produce over 27,000 heads of lettuce a year in this one small area. Some of our best ideas have been inspired by nature, like these fruit and vegetable trees. By growing these ground plants vertically, we can increase yields and better control diseases. These crops taste as good as they look. In fact, we serve more than 15 tons of produce from our greenhouses in restaurants here at the land every year. The future of agriculture may include innovative ideas like this vertical growing system. Plants grown in this way use a fraction of the space required by traditional growing methods. That saves water and increases production. The aquaponics system on your left combines hydroponics with aquaculture. The fish provide a natural source of fertilizer for the plants, and the plants help keep the water clean for the fish. It's another great way to produce more while using less. In our lab, EPCOT scientists are working with the U.S. Department of Agriculture on a number of innovative projects. The goal of these efforts is to produce higher yielding and better quality plants. These greenhouses represent just a fraction of the work being done worldwide to produce bountiful harvests for our growing population. Scientists, farmers, and even backyard gardeners are doing their part to improve the quantity and quality of foods that we all rely upon. Together, we can continue to find more ways to increase food production and protect our precious natural environment. Only then will we truly be living with the land. On behalf of Walt Disney World, we hope you've enjoyed this unique journey through our living laboratories. If you'd like a closer look, then check out the Behind the Seeds walking tour. It's a chance for the whole family to get up close and personal with the plants and growing techniques in our laboratories. Please keep your hands and feet inside the boat and remain seated until the boat comes to a complete stop. Please gather all your personal belongings. Lower your head and watch your step as you exit.
John DeHaas, we just rode Living with the Land here at EPCOT, a classic signature attraction.
A classic is right, yeah.
This is, the ride in some form has been around since the opening of EPCOT.
Correct.
And I like this ride. I go on it usually once or twice every time I come.
I go, if there's no line, I'll go on it.
Yeah, it's not one you run to?
No.
Did you go on the old version, the classic version?
Yes.
Do you prefer it?
Yeah. They also hired attraction hosts in powder blue jumpsuits that narrated the entire ride.
Yeah.
And fun fact, I was actually hired to do that job back in 1989.
Were you excited to be living?
I was excited, and I got to my first day of training, and they said, we have enough attractions hosts at the land. We're going to move you over to Imagination. And the rest as well.
The rest is well documented on the internet.
Yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for visiting the
do you have a favorite part of this attraction?
I like the whole thing. It's just fun. It's relaxing. I wish they would replace the film at the beginning, because I'm sure that was from '82.
The film at the beginning.
In the middle, where they're talking about cropping in Saudi Arabia and Japan or whatever.
Oh, that part. Yeah,
that's obvious. It's decades old, like the name tags and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that'd be nice if they would just update that one thing. So everything else seems pretty up to date. I do miss the song, though.
Yeah, the song was classic. So.
Living with the land, we all love. Anyway.
Yeah. I like. Do you like the greenhouse section?
Yeah, that's very informative. Every time I go through, I'm like, that's kind of cool. So. Education. It's edutainment is what I call it.
Edutainment. Have you taken the Behind the Scenes tour?
I have not taken the Behind the Scenes.
Someday we'll have to do that and review it.
We will, yes.
Going through this today, now we're recording this shortly after the Universe of Energy has closed, and going through this, I was kind of thinking, could they get rid of this? Would they get rid of it?
I don't know. I think it's a big enough pavilion that it would cost too much, and I don't know what they're going to put there. It fits perfectly in with the land and what they're
and the
trying-
restaurant,
Yeah, the land, everything. It's like if they close it, what are they going to put in a roller coaster? I mean, not everything has to be a thrilling attraction. It can be an educational, slow-moving.
And this is one that seems that where other attractions in Future World would get outdated, this one seems they keep it pretty well updated.
Yeah, except for the film from 1982.
Right. As your rating for the land.
Boy, this is a tough one. I give it 4 out of 5 fluted pumpkins.
4 out of 5 fluted pumpkins. There you go. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Do you agree or disagree with our thoughts on living with the land at Walt Disney World's Epcot? Join the conversation on the Attraction Checklist Facebook page at facebook.com/attraction checklist. Also, for sources and links for this episode, visit our website at attractionchecklist.com. What attraction should we go on next? Send me an email over at hello@saturdaymorningmedia.com, or you can let me know via Twitter, where my username is ToasterBoy. You can also post on the aforementioned Attraction Checklist Facebook page. Attraction Checklist is a production of Saturday Morning Media and is made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who've gone to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a monthly donation for as little as $1 a month. Huge thanks to Shay Stewart, Myrn Lafferty, Jeff Peterson, Dale Gadania, Stephen Staver, Jackie Climo, Melissa Crawford, Dave Slusher of the Evil Genius Chronicles, Mike Conflin, Dorothy Pachoco, John D., Kathy Crawford, Brian Greer, Carrie Whitney, Chuck Tomasi from the Technorama Podcast, Chris Foster, Stephen Ing, Clinton of ComedyForecast.com, Vicky DeVries, Mike Wabshall, Twitter user Butzengear, a.k.a. Wildcat, Eve Cunning, Mike Hamilton, Gaston Moreno, Reed Loveland, Ivan Asquith, Vanessa Whitney, Peggy Etra, Kristen Hogan of Squid Friends, David Akers, Zoe Palladino, Ellen Multari, Christopher Harris, Rachel Jackson of Vox Fabuli Puppets, Carolyn Weisner, John Petty, Rachel Hansen, Darcy Prevost, Fernando Torres, Ron McAdams, Perlicue Magic, Jason Domer, Trent Hammond, Roman and Emmett, Cora Goodall, Lee Barrett, Casino Skunk, The Misty Minute, Peter Capesser, Night Gig Studios, Joelle Reckfortig, Adrian Rose Leonard, Earth to John Francis, RJ, and Ginger J. Fitz. If you'd like to support this show and the other fun content from Saturday Morning Media, become a patron. Head on over to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up your monthly donation today. You can also tell a friend about the show or leave the show a review on Apple Podcasts. And while you're in the podcast app on your iPhone, be sure to click that subscribe button. That way you'll get new episodes the moment they are released. Thank you so much for listening. Attraction Checklist is copyright 2018 Saturday Morning Media Grant Pachoco executive producer, all rights reserved. www.saturdaymorningmedia.com. You've been listening to Saturday Morning Media. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.